Hello, so in this video I'm going to show you how in Excel to make a graph that looks something like this for a single case research design, specifically an A-B design. That's what this is called, an A-B design. So A refers to this baseline phase where you just try to get a read on your participant before any sort of treatment or intervention has been implemented. And then B stands for this phase here. And this phase is all about just the treatment phase. And so the goal, of course, is to see that in treatment, the participant does better than they do in the baseline phase. And you measure how well they did with something called a PEM. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's essentially the percentage of treatment data points that fall below or just on the favorable side of the baseline measure. And the baseline is chosen as the median for this kind of thing. I'm not sure why they show this median being here, because it would actually be this point, but I'm going to show you how to do this in Excel. So suppose this is the data we have. Here's participant 1, and here's the baseline phase. Here's the here's the treatment phase. Okay, so first I had to go ahead and put it in another sheet for participant 1. This is how I set it up: day, misbehavior score. Suppose this is a sort of intervention to help curb classroom misbehavior for students. So I already did it for participant 1. Actually, let me change this to a dotted line. I think it'll look better. I'll do that later. I'll show you when I make the next one. There's lots of options for how we format this. But so you see, this looks sort of. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Stop. Okay. So you see, this looks sort of like what we had over here. Very similar, right? Okay. So I'm going to show you how to make this. And I added trend lines as well. Let me talk through this one first, and then I'll show you how to make the other one. So this right here is the baseline. This is the baseline. I picked this by just choosing the median data point from the baseline phase. So that's pretty standard apparently. So the median just means the one that's in the middle, the point that's in the middle. This is the highest point, this is the lowest point, this is the point that's right in the middle. And how would we find the PEM for this? So let me write something here. So the PEM is just essentially the proportion of treatment data points that fall on the favorable side of the baseline. So this is measuring misbehavior, so what's better is less misbehavior. So we want the proportion of these treatment points that fall below the baseline. And in this case I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that fall below the baseline. So the PEM sorry, I know that looks terrible. So the PEM would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be 5 divided by how many treatment points are there in total? 7. So it would be 5 divided by 7, which, let's do some math really quick. 5 divided by 7. So let's just round this to a couple of digits, maybe 0.71. Okay. So 0.71 would be the PEM. And that's a pretty effective treatment. I have some notes on class about this. This is where it shows you how to interpret the results of the PEM. So basically, if your PEM is 0.9 or higher, it's considered a very effective treatment. If it's between 0.7 and 0.9, it's effective. Between 0.7 and 0.5 and 0.7, debatably effective. And at 0.5 or below, it's not effective at all. If it's below 0.5, actually, the treatment has the opposite effects of what you'd want. So definitely not a good thing. Okay, so let's go back. Oops, sorry. Let's go back over here. So now let me show you how I made this on in another sheet. Let's clear out what we got there. So let's do this one for participant 2. This participant is in the control group. Okay, and we need, so let's see, day and misbehavior are our headers. Misbehavior. Okay, and I just like to, oops, there we go. I just like to format this a little bit. I just think it's nice for these to be, well, this, okay, that's annoying. For these to be centered. Let me see how we do that in Excel. Jeez, this is confusing. Let me pause the video until I figure this out. Okay, so if I click on this one, then hold down Control and click on this one, they're both selected. Then I right click and gives me some formatting options. This right here is going to center it. And why don't we also underline them too? That'll look nice. I don't know, I just like to do that kind of thing. If I can find how to underline, give me. Okay, so it's not so easy to figure out how to underline things. I'm going to do this, I'm just going to make them bold. Okay, bold. And then, let's see, there were 3 baseline days, baseline 1, baseline 2, baseline 3. Then we want a space, and then our treatment days, or intervention days. I'll use T's for that, and there were 7 of those. So T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6. Oh, I'm not being stupid. You should save yourself time. In fact, let's do it. Jeez, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at Excel. I'm much better at sheets. Why do I just delete these? Okay, watch what we can do. If we just drag it from here, it'll do all that stuff for us. See? Okay, good. So misbehavior, let's put in his data. I don't know how to copy and paste from a row into a column, so I'm just going to type them in one by one. I'll pause it to that. I'm going to type in 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 4. I'm just going to type all that stuff in. Okay, the data is in. So now let's make our charts. So first we have to highlight the data we want to make a chart out of. So I click here, then I hold down Control and click this one. Jeez, this is just not working. No, hold down Shift and then click here. There we go, now it's all selected. Okay, so we want to insert a line graph is what we want. Or a line chart it might be called. But we want it to have little points for the data. Let's see. Aha. Okay, good. And then let's format this to make it look nice now. So I'm going to click here, double click on the line. You see that? Just double click directly on the line. Let's go over here. No, this one. Yeah. Okay. Then markers. We can change what our little guys look like. Marker options. Built-in options. You can pick any shape you want. I'm going to pick a square. I think that looks nice. Okay. From here, let's go ahead and put our baseline in. So our baseline is actually let's put a little line here to divide our baseline phase and our treatment phase. So we'll go back to Insert, Shapes, Line. And then I'm going to click and drag from here to here. Okay, maybe move it over a little bit, make it right in the middle. Okay, I think this look nice as a dotted line, so we can go over here, dash type, we'll make it a dashed line. Jeez, this is already dashed line. Okay, and maybe a little thicker would look better. Maybe even as big as 2. Okay, so that's our little line just to separate the 2 phases of the project, to separate the baseline and the treatment. Okay, from here let's make a line for our baseline itself. So it's typical to pick the median of these points. So that's just the point that's in the middle. So this is the lowest, this one's in the middle, this one's the highest. So we need our baseline to go through this point. So let's go get another line. Okay. Now I'll just start it here and make it go all the way through to the last point. And you can format that however you want. I think I want it to be a little bit thicker, maybe as thick as 2. Okay, that looks pretty good. And from there, let's see what else we should do. Let's add a label. Well, first let's title the chart. I'm going to call this Participant 2, and he's in the control group. Okay. what else? Let's click back on here on the chart, hit the plus. Let's get some axis titles. Maybe just one for the vertical. Okay. Okay, so what are we going to call this? Maybe in here I'll type misbehavior. Okay. It looks a little too close. I'm going to move them over a little bit. Okay. And from here, let's go ahead and calculate our PEM. Actually, let me just look back here and make sure I did all the things I wanted to do. Okay, we'll do the trend lines in a bit. Okay, so from here, let's calculate our PEM. Let's see. So P, E, oh, that looks bad. Okay. So like I said before, the PEM is the proportion of treatment data points that fall, in this case, below our baseline. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 points that fall below it. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in total, so 3 divided by 7. And let's grab a calculator really quick to see what that is in decimal form. Not sure what that's going to come out to. Okay, so about 0.43. We'll round it to 2 digits. 0.43. 0.43. Okay. Oh, and I just realized something. Since this is the control group, this participant did not receive any treatments. So this should not be called T1, T2, etc. because it's not a treatment phase. Maybe we'll call it I don't know, more baseline, or maybe C for control. Maybe C1 through C7 instead. I don't know. And you see it changes it on our chart there. Okay, so from here, let's see what we got. Let's do a trend line real quick. So trend lines, it's just kind of showing you which way it's going. I mean, it's not, you can kind of already see it, so in my opinion it's kind of silly to draw trend lines, but we were shown how to do this in class, so I figured I should put it here too. So the way he had us do trend lines is like this. Let me clear off the PEM real quick. Okay, is this. He said essentially, well, first let's do one for the baseline. He said the trend line basically needs to go through, sorry, let me start over. I'll insert a line to make this clear. Insert a line, and I'm going to erase this line. But you draw it through the middle data point time-wise. This is a trend over time. Okay, and then the idea is we want to look at all the points to the left and find their median point. Maybe I can insert a little dot, something to mark the median. I don't know, let's do a tiny little shape. Okay? And you want to mark the median point. So, but how do you find the median of just 2 data points? You just pick the point that's directly halfway between them. So that would be right here. Okay, so there's a little tiny little point. We're going to erase that. I just want to put it there for now. Okay, and then we do the same for all the data points on the right side of the midway point. So again, the median of these 2 points would be directly in between them. So let's insert another little dot for that purpose. Okay. Then what we do to draw the trend line, let's go ahead and get ourselves a line going. Let's do a line with an arrow for the trend line, is we needed to go through those 2 points we just drew. Okay, we'll start it here, go through the points, boom, something like that. And then we can mess around with what the trend line looks like. I want to make it dotted, I think that'll look nice. The color's fine, maybe make it a little thicker, 1.5 maybe. Okay, now let me just go and delete those little dots. We don't need those there actually, or this line. That was just to help us make it. Okay, so now let's do trend line for the this control period to see how this student was doing during that phase. I'm going to do the same kind of thing. Start with inserting a line just to break the data in 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, so this point right in the middle is where I'll make it. Okay? So first let's focus on these 3 points. We need to pick out the median point. This is the highest, this is the lowest, this is the one right in the middle. So that's the median point. Let's put a little dot there just to keep track of where we are. Or a gigantic dot. Why not? And then we got to do the same on this side. Okay, so this is the highest point, this is the lowest point, this is the point in the middle. So this is where I'll put my dot. And then our trend line just connects those 2 dots. So back to insert, another line with an arrow. Let's start it right about here. Let's start them right on this guy. No, well, we'll move them afterwards, and it has to go through there, and I'll make it go all the way to the end. Okay. I want this guy to be dotted like the other one. I want him to be a little bit bigger. Good, and now we can delete these dots we just used to. And this guy isn't really in the right spot. He should be here. Boom. Good. So that's about it. We found the PEM. We drew some trend lines. So what this trend line is sort of showing is that for whatever reason, this student, even though he wasn't getting any intervention, is trending down for misbehavior. He's doing better than he was, and he's mostly doing better than the baseline. So what you need to do is compare these guys in the control group, compare these graphs to the ones you come up, like this one for the people in the experimental group. So just looking at these two, it doesn't look very promising. This person did have a lower PEM, a higher PEM, which was better, but the trend is, the trend is flat. It's not like it's still getting lower, it doesn't look like. But maybe just as soon as the treatment started, as soon as the intervention started, it was working, so that's why it's got such a nice high PEM. But you look here, this one had a high PEM too, and maybe just something was going on over these days so that all the students, perhaps, whether they were getting the intervention or not, were behaving better. Okay, so I think with that much you could figure out how to make those charts for the rest of these. I think the formatting is just kind of up to you how you want to format it. Oh, and I don't want to leave this there. Forgot to delete that. What else? I guess that's it really. I'm not sure how to export this. Maybe you can just hit Control-C to copy it and paste it into like a slideshow. If that doesn't work, you can always do a screenshot if you know how to do that. Anyway, hope that helps.